There's an image, but no message. I think one of the worst things an artist can do is to paint an artwork, but it has no meaning. Some artists already know this, either because they have been taught by their mentor, or they just really want to say something. That's why they had to put it out there and use art as their voice. Then there are those who, as they paint, come up with an idea as they go along, and that works too. At least they know that what they are making should be about something. However, the most notorious painters are those who don't even know you're supposed to be saying something when making an artwork. That there has to be a meaning or a story behind the artwork you're making before you even begin painting. Even abstract artists channel what they are feeling, whether they are happy or sad or confused or their lives are chaotic, and you see that burst of energy on their canvas. The bright or dark colors tell a story. They try to capture their emotion at the moment, and even prepare for it even before they begin painting. Again, they are not devoid of meaning. Don't get me wrong, you can do a piece that has no meaning or message, but it has to be a conscious choice. You have to know that an artwork first has to have a message before you actually do something without a message. So no, who I'm talking about here are the artists who don't know that they're supposed to be saying something in the artworks they produce. You can also have your message be a secret. No one can force you to tell the meaning of your artwork if you don't want people to know what you're saying in the painting. Though I've spoken to artists who use this reason as an excuse, but in all honesty, they really don't have anything to say in the artwork. Because sometimes it's obvious that the artist just mixed and matched images off of the internet for it to look cool. By all means that's okay, but when you do that, all you're doing with your art is surface level stuff. Like you're wearing all branded clothes, expensive rubber shoes, and some bling blings, but when you open your mouth all you can talk about is you wearing branded clothes, expensive rubber shoes, and some bling blings and nothing more. You got no insight nor original opinions, you have no depth. So yeah, before you say the meaning is a secret, make sure that it really means something, otherwise you're just fooling yourself. And to be honest, people are not fools. Sure, keep your meaning a secret, but people eventually figure it out, one way or another, what you meant with the painting you did. That is if you really were saying anything by the artworks you made to begin with. And if not, if they were really devoid of meaning, eventually they get it's all empty, that even the wallpaper has more meaning. I've noticed some artists aren't really thinking of something to say first and just go at it on their canvas or drawing paper, scribbling a figure or character and haphazardly applying paint, taking a chance if something will come out. And sometimes, something does come out, so later they decipher what they painted as something that they were feeling inside, even if they didn't think of the final image when they started. Like with the abstract painters, I would argue that there's meaning behind it because you're letting your subconscious guide you, like a dream revealing your deepest thoughts and feelings, and then later decoding its meaning similar to decrypting one's dream, but there's still meaning. So who am I talking about here exactly? Well, it's those artists who just want to paint because everyone's painting. They're the artists that try to imitate other artists, but not knowing the meaning behind the other person's actions. They're like monkeys, monkey see, monkey do, and artists should be better than that. You can see the works of these artists, they're just clones and copies of other more sophisticated artworks, with the creator of it put some thought and time into making it. They just imitate artworks that sell and try and make something like it, without adding anything new to it, or changing it to some degree that it becomes theirs. Artists who try to mirror what's hype right now. Like for example, if you know Mark Ryden, you'll know that most of his artworks are dark, and has depth and a plethora of meanings in every simple object you can find on his canvas. And his works are beautifully haunting and are out of the best out there. Since his approach to his art is successful, a lot of artists copy his style. Not just the manner of painting, but artists copy his semiotics and even his subject's deformed anatomy. They even copy his personal darkness without having to really understand what they all mean. These copycats don't have a deeper and more personal connection to the items and objects found in his works, but they still blatantly copy them thinking that it's okay to do so. And these copycat artists might have a message. Oh wait, Mark Ryden has a message, but the artist who copies him don't really have their own message at all. Because they just copied his world. His darkness is not your darkness. If anything, their message is symbolism kleptomania. Or it could be their message is, steal like an artist. The sad thing is, the artist who does this doesn't know that this is not a good thing, that this is not acceptable. Sure, they might be able to sell the piece, even have a one-man show with a copycat series after Mark Ryden, but eventually the artist suffers because he's not talking about his own ideas and thoughts. He's just copying a superior artist's works and risks. And if he's then called out about this, or another artist actually tells him that he's copying too much of Mark Ryden's work, then the artist who copies eventually stops painting because he's humiliated by something he's done. Or he actually doesn't stop. And continues to do so, even blatantly admitting that he's copying the superior artist's work. Yikes. It's either that or he copies another artist consciously or subconsciously, and the cycle begins again. It's not hard to think of your own message or story if you just take the time to do so and make room for yourself in your artwork. But we're not here in this chapter to talk about originality or copycats, we're here to talk about meaning. For the topic of originality, go to chapter titled, Be Original, Just Like Your Fingerprint. Another uninspired artist is the one who never left college. Sure, they may have graduated, but technically, how come their artwork still looks like he's competing at a college painting competition? Why is there a flag of the Philippines there for no reason? And why are his themes always talking about world peace and saving the earth? My fellow artist, it's time that you realize that art is not a contest. It never was. Even in the competition. Of course, you can join some painting competitions in college or even after graduating. But you're painting, dude, we don't have a theme anymore to follow here. You can just be yourself and paint anything that your heart desires. And no, me saying that doesn't mean you should paint a literal red friggin' heart. Jeez. It could be that these artists really don't know that you're not always supposed to paint like you're in a contest after graduating college, and when you're not in a contest, still trying to be super patriotic and being loud and grand in their themes and artwork, like he's outdoing his someone in the effort or his neighbor, or like she's competing in the Miss Universe pageant. You can always identify these guys. Their artworks are almost on the social realism side, almost with a bit of brown tinge and color, and there's a dove there somewhere, or something against a tanker pollution. Come on guys, we're better than this. We're artists. Some actually can't think of an artwork to paint if you don't give them a theme for an exhibition, because they are hardwired to follow a theme given to them by the guidelines. And I can bet, they are the very same artists who only paint when they are invited for a group show, but if no one invites them, they don't paint at all. Paint for yourself, my fellow artists. Your art should be yours first, not the jurors nor judges, not the people who will buy them. Your art is an expression of your soul. You can't allow someone else to dictate the theme of your life and art. You can't allow someone else to dictate what your soul looks like. Only you will know the true beauty of your soul. Another artist is the one who doesn't copy but doesn't know what to paint. They might say, I can't paint, I haven't anything to say yet. Well, if that's the case, you can just make stuff up. Pour out your fantasies or your dreams, make up your world, or paint your ideals and ideas. You and everyone have got something to say just about anything. Make it about your favorite scene in a movie. Make it about your love of cats. Make it about the pain of other people that you see every day. It's that you're either afraid to say what you really want to say, or you haven't gone deep enough in your thoughts that you can't discover who you really are. That you haven't been honest with yourself or with others enough that you don't even know the sound of your inner voice. Everyone has an opinion on something. What's yours? Think about it real hard. Choose a topic and what's your opinion about it? Paint or write about that, and if you notice that your opinions are really just you copying the opinions of others, either for you to sound cool or for you to sound intelligent, then my friend, you are right now being a copycat. You have to really know what you think about something. Maybe you have the same opinion, but okay, you can tell it differently because you came from a different background. Or that thing affects you differently because you're Filipino or you're still single right now or you're a geek. Your opinion is you, and it doesn't mean that if you have one, that it's right, or that it can't be changed in the future. But it's your opinion and you should at least voice it out, especially if you really have something to say. You might even make a difference. And how do you get your opinion or hear your own inner voice? My advice is, to get into meditation, and quiet the thoughts that you hear that have the voice of other people who are staying in your mind. You could always tell whose voice is speaking in your head, and you can hear them clearly because these voices only come from memory, and once you've identified them as not being your voice, banish them. Especially if they hinder your creative progress. You can also write down stuff, or just let your thoughts flow as you write. Type, or imagine, and eventually, you'll know what you want to say when you notice what has not been said yet out of all the chaos and bullshit that's being said out there. There are a lot of bullshit messages out there. Wouldn't it be great if you can counter that with your own artwork's message? And speaking of bullshit artists, they're next on the list. They're the ones who don't copy others' work and have something to say, but what they're saying is of little value. Don't get me wrong, you can say anything with art. You can say something simple and ordinary if you want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's quite okay, even wonderful. But there are those who actually say something with their art, or at least they think they're saying something in their art, that they want us to think that they're saying something in their art, but they're really not. They're not saying anything in their art, and just juxtaposed images they got from here and there and jumbled them into the canvas, crossing their fingers if it would look cool or be something profound. Well, you can do this when you're doing collages, but the thing is, to do a successful and witty collage. Meaning, you set out to find meaning juxtaposing images, and then something comes out with a message. And that's good in my book, I do it too, and it's actually fun. However, if you're just putting images together but there's no reason behind it other than looking badass, well, for me that rings false and falls flat on the meaningful scale. It's like seeing those made in China toys or clothes where it says Avengers on the text, but the superheroes on there are the Justice League. They got it wrong because they don't know what the hell's the difference between the two. Would that be you? So you really should think about what you're getting out of the image you're putting together. A successful collage and marrying of images should make you laugh for the right reason, because it's funny and witty. Remember, if there's no story in it, if it doesn't say anything about anything, it's just a bullshit mishmash of junk. An artwork without a message is not art, it's just an image. So what can you say on your artwork? Well, anything actually. You can lie in your paintings if you want, meaning do a self-portrait and pretend you're rich or you have 10 women pleasing you sexually. You can put that on a canvas. It would mean something, but I can't guarantee people would love that painting or the meaning behind it, or if they would believe any of it. For me, the best thing I found is that you tell the truth in your artwork. The truth that you have discovered on your own that no one talks about. You can also tell stories, either fictional or something that happened to you on a memorable day, or just your experiences. What's the message in that, you ask? Well, there's a story and that's already enough if you ask me. If it's a memory you cherish, it's probably something beautiful, exciting, powerful, or maybe even terrifying or sad, and the reason you still remember those memories is that they made a mark on you, so that means it's interesting. When was the last time you remember a boring thing that happened to you? You don't, right? We don't like to talk about boring people or boring movies, right? We stay away from them. We instantly delete dull details, the mundane day-to-day unimportant information for our minds to make room for new and much better and memorable experiences. And if it's memorable to you, it probably will be too if you shared it with others in your art, essay, poetry, or film. Because stories, especially those that we are compelled to create and paint, are those stories that move us or have sense in them. No matter how simple your story or message is, it's better to have a simple message, rather than not having any meaning to your artwork. And your story message meaning doesn't also have to be deep either. But of course, you can be deep if you want to be deep as you want it to be. Don't be afraid to go further in depth into the layers of your message. Make poetry with your art, just don't hold back who you really are. Don't mind those motherfuckers who tell you you're just trying to be deep when you really have a profound message or meaning to share. Those limpid guys just need to read more books to swim in the depths you're willing to go. Leave them at the shore where the water is shallow. You can tell the whole world about your theories and your thoughts, even if you get misunderstood by people. Because this is the whole essence of art, to be able to show what you have in your mind. You are the god of your world, so make it a damn interesting place to be when you show it us. Just a reminder though, you should also be able to express clearly your art form here in this physical realm, in our shared reality, so that people would be able to understand your ideas. Be willing to translate for other people the art you want to express, so that they would get them. Otherwise, why pluck these ideas from your head in the first place, if you don't want other people to get them? Just leave them in your head then. And sure, sometimes they might laugh or misunderstand your ideas, your world at first, but keep at it. New ideas are funny at first to virgin ears, but you know why comedians are funny. They tell the truth. Make a backstory about it. Make your own lore. You own LOTRHOTDRMCU or 90,210, and paint that. Close your eyes and look carefully at what you see in your mind, and paint that vision. Think of the concept before you start painting. Make your intangible ideas into representational subjects and objects, and paint that. Give your viewers a hint of what you're saying in the painting by giving them a title that acts as a key to unlocking your story. Or you could just let them know what your artworks mean by telling them yourself when they ask you, or better yet, ask fellow artists what they meant with their artwork. I guarantee you that you'd be surprised by their answers and what they mean by their paintings. Ask them, would you pick that title for this piece? Or would you paint so many cats? Either you were already thinking about what they're trying to say, or you'll discover something new. And knowing more about their paintings, you like their artworks more now that you know the story behind and in their work. So no, don't just make an image because it looks cool. Think of what you want to say and make an artwork.